Welcome back to 6 Degrees. We're so happy you're here. Today we're diving into how do you build a successful campaign, nonprofit or otherwise. And we're excited to dive into today. I'm Stacey Houston, Executive Director of SixDegrees.org.
I'm Bridget Zechnick. I'm the Director of Programs and Development for SixDegrees.org.
And we're a nonprofit that's focused on youth empowerment, justice and equity, building sustainable living environments, and emerging crisis. We're so happy you're here, but make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss a video. So let's get into it, Bridget. I think that there's lots of ways that people build campaigns, but not always super authentically. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what's a core thing that really is centered on building an authentic campaign and capturing the right voice.
The first thing we always do is ask questions. We listen intently. We need to understand the community that we're partnering with and collaborating with. And true collaboration can only be built on a meaningful, honest relationship. And so we are very good at taking a step back to say, talk to us. Tell us, what is it your community needs? What's happening right now? What are the pain points? What are the opportunities? And how can we more meaningfully collaborate with one another in a way that doesn't do harm? When we do these campaigns, a lot of times we're looking at how can we tell this story, right? Because it might feel very insular, but often there's elements of a story that have ripple effects and can touch communities in different geographic regions, different places around the world. And so what are some of the things that 6 Degrees keeps in mind when we're thinking about crafting a campaign from sort of a creative perspective, a way that's gonna capture attention, that's gonna make sure an audience really hears and sees and feels what's important?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think that the most important piece of creating a campaign like that, especially one that you're hoping is widespread, is inclusivity. Mm-hmm. When we build a campaign, we really ensure that as many people can participate as possible. We think through those that have different abilities, those that may be old or young, those that might be, more resourced than others. And we try to ensure that it's something that everybody can participate in if they really want to. So I think that's really key. I think the other piece is that you kind of let in with this, we ask a lot of questions, and it's really important, not just because we're trying to center the voice of whatever campaign is around, it's obviously around a cause area and someone we're trying to support and help, but that we're also really focused on the dignity. Mm-hmm. And I always say, dignity is in the details. And so what I mean by that is if we're not really careful, we can, and we've seen this lots of times in different campaigns, people can misstep and really offend and cause more harm, and that's never our intention. Yeah. So I always think it's really important that when you're building a campaign, you bring thought leaders in. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the expertise on your team, seek that out. Yes. Okay, whether you have resources to or not, you can reach out to somebody and say, listen, we don't have resources, but we're trying to build this thoughtful campaign. Can you be an advisor? Can you help? This is what we're thinking about. Is this the right language to use? Is this the right framing? Is this the right context? Because people appreciate that because they know that you're trying to do it thoughtfully. I think too often we rush, and that is where mistakes happen that, will, really harm a brand or a community. And so take the time that's necessary. Make sure you have a process in place so that even if there's an emergency situation where you really want to amplify something quickly, you have tools and you have a structure and a framework that you can follow.
Yes, well said, well said. Yeah, I think that so often people feel called to take action, and that reactivity can sometimes cause more harm than good, right? And there's sometimes also an assumption that because something works well in this community, right, they figured out the secret sauce over here, okay, well, let's replicate it and put it over here, without pausing to say, what is it that your community needs? What is it that it's lacking? What are you really strong in? What are you all doing really well? What can we learn? And so again, we've talked about it a couple times today, stoking that curiosity is so key in order to move the needle forward for anyone and anything.
we both have young children, and I think we've talked about this, like the curiosity of a child.
Yeah.
Right? We don't make assumptions, we ask questions, and we are curious to learn. And I think when you're coming in thinking that you are the most intelligent person in the room, that can be dangerous.
For
right?
sure,
'Cause
for sure.
You have blinders on, and that doesn't mean that you diminish your value, but it just means that you come in as a strategic partner as opposed to the person that should be curating the entire experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said.
One of the other pieces that I think that 6 Degrees has done really well, and we really try to talk to other organizations about, is the need to collaborate. And I think that collaboration is something that can sometimes be a buzzword, but frankly, I think a lot of nonprofits are afraid of collaborating in this way. They are open maybe to collaborate with a funding partner, a brand partner, but not necessarily other people in the work with them, out of maybe a fear of losing some of the attention or resources or funding or donors and those sorts of things. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what you think about this kind of concept that 6 Degrees has really put our arms around, saying that we do things together. We do things in community and in collaboration with several nonprofits around, like causes.
Yeah. It's interesting. I spent a lot of my career working adjacent to education. And so there was a lot of conversation around collaboration, and how we were taught collaboration is very different than how it's modeled and taught and kind of part of the education system today. So this next generation, I'm really aging myself here, this next generation really intrinsically understands what it means to collaborate. It's not a group project, right, where one person's going to do all the work. It really is about idea sharing. It really is about, sharing communal resources. And sometimes those resources are talent, right? So somebody might have an amazing social media director, and the other two organizations that we're bringing together don't have anybody because they're very short-staffed. Maybe they're a team of 2. And
Zing!
It's us, it's your girls.
I love it. No, it's good.
But an organization may be really lean in terms of staff, and so by bringing these people together, what we always find is that in the downtimes, in the times of conversation, there's idea sharing, there's resource sharing, there's content sharing, there's, we tell our story this way. I really like how you sent this email. I really like how you, greet your guests when they come into a space. You can always be learning from another organization, and what we find time and time again is when we bring together, multiple nonprofit organizations. They may be working in the same sector, or maybe they're serving slightly different demographics of people, but there's often a through line, right? Because we are all in this work of nonprofit, and there's a shared language and a shared understanding of what we bring to the table and how we can help and support one another. And those moments are really fulfilling for us.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
So one of the questions we get asked anywhere we go when people kind of figure out what 6 Degrees is, or they've heard of us, is, wow, you all have a really interesting platform. Like, talk to us about how you're using that, or what does it mean to, have a celebrity founder? And I think you speak really eloquently about that amplification piece of stories. Could you talk to us about how 6 Degrees does that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of people find out how small our team is, and they're kind of astonished because you're looking at us, hence the joke and laughing earlier. But we are a very small team. We're very nimble, but that's why collaboration is so important. We ensure when we're building a campaign that we're really focused on other outside entities that can help us, that can leverage their expertise, their reach, their network, their resources to help get a message out, right? And I think it's important that these stakeholders have a affinity towards the cause area or the organization that we're supporting, or generally they have a relationship with you. And so we all have those relationships, so it's really important to cultivate them and also create ways to really thank them when they're helping you to launch a campaign. So oftentimes we'll sometimes see campaigns that are kind of singularly focused. They may be just online, or it might just be a commercial, or it might just be kind of a PSA. but they're not really having a strategy, a marketing strategy where they're talking about, how to get in front of different newsletters outside of even your own, other types of groups and communities online that could help share and amplify this type of work that you're doing, and often we do this without any paid advertising, and most of our campaigns are completely organic. And so when people see, oh my gosh, you've won Webbies and Tellies and Shorties and all of these things with 2 people, I always say one of the reasons why we started applying for these types of awards is because we wanted to thank our partners that helped us, right? You should see this list of people. The credits list is long, right? Because it's like, if you have helped participate in one of these campaigns, you deserve to be acknowledged for that. For sure. And I think that when we started doing that, we recognized that all of our partners wanted to help again and again because they saw the value in it. They felt connection, they felt community, they felt like they were part of something really special. And oftentimes they're doing something that they don't get to do in their day-to-day by helping to kind of leverage and amplify these types of campaigns or messaging. So I just say be really strategic, start thinking through your partnerships, thinking through your network and who you know and who you can ask for support.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in closing, I'd really say stay authentic and mission-driven around the campaigns that you're creating. Think about your audience, think about how you can really tell their story in an authentic way, and how you can ensure that as many different types of people as possible can participate should they want to. We'd love to hear a little bit about your favorite campaigns, the campaigns that have moved you, that you participated in, that you've seen online and just been really inspired by. Drop in the comments, let us know. We can't wait to hear from you. And as always, please subscribe and stay connected to our community. Thanks.